And we're back to finish up talking 10 gig. Just to remind us, before we dig into this, if we look back at our switch that we would be ordering, the switch that we'd be ordering for connecting workstations up in an ordinary network, there are 10/100,000 base Ethernet ports. This is roughly gigabit copper port to the desktop, and I have two uplink ports that are typically SFP. This would be my 10 gig uplink for the switch to connect to another closet or another switch, if you will. So 10 gig is typically going to be our backbone connection. So gigabit will be likely work area connection today, and 10 gig is going to be for our backbone connection. That'll probably be for at least a little while until we start adopting 40 gig standards and that sort of thing. Copper standards for 10 gigabit Ethernet fill the need for connections in the data closet, and your fiber standards for 10 gigabit Ethernet pretty much have things covered for connecting my closets together, connecting switches in two separate closets or connecting closets together. The thing to remember here is 10G, 10 gig, baseband, and the blank, just like we had SX before and that sort of thing. This is where we use some of the same logic. S for short wavelength, L for long wavelength, and E for extended reach, extra long wavelength, if you will. The short wavelength, again, is your 850 nanometer. Your long wavelength is your 1300, 1310 nanometer wavelength. And your E, your extended reach, is your 1550 nanometer wavelength. And as we go from the short to long to extended reach, the distance capability of this is going to increase. I can get a couple hundred meters here, up to tens of kilometers in the extended reach, if you will. So examples would be things like your 10G base SR, 10G base LR kind of thing. I think on the next page I do actually have, here's your standards. I kind of lumped them together. Your SW, your W is typically your SONET stuff, but the specs are all the same, so I kind of lumped them together for you. 10G base SR is your 850 nanometer multi-mode fiber. Typically, again, LAN distance is a couple hundred meters, enough to connect closets together in a building. As I move to the 10G base LR, I start getting the 1310 nanometer, that middle wavelength, if you will. I start using single mode fiber, and I'm able to get up to 10 kilometers. So connecting something like Midtown building over to Wildwood building kind of thing, that kind of idea. And then your 10G base EW, 1550 nanometer, again single mode, we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50 kilometers kind of thing. Greater distances for this guy. Well, if I jump back to there's my switch, there's my SFP ports. If I go to my price source, we had looked up our gigabit SFP earlier. If I now plug in something like, let's do Cisco SFP, let's try 10G base, let's try SR, let's go right for the gusto here, see what we can find. Hey, here we go, look at that. Cisco SFP transceiver module 10 gig. Let's just pop him right open and see what we get. This should be my SFP module, 10G base SR, LC connector. Again, we're up to the 984 feet. There's your, that's about there's about your 300 meters, if you will. There you go. 850 nanometers. This would be my module for my LAN link in my building. So I could be buying this switch right here, this top switch right here, for 8 ports of 1000 base T for connecting my workstations. And in my SFP slot, I could be buying this to connect over to another switch in another closet. That's where these standards actually start to come in handy for you. I don't have to guess. I know exactly what it's going to do. I know exactly what the distances and everything are going to be based on the standard. If I needed a longer distance, I could go 10G base LR. And actually, let me see if I can't pop one of those guys up real quick. Let me back up here. Let's see if I can put in an LR up here and see if it'll come up for me. And show you that, I can turn right around and use the other standard to my benefit. It looks like, I don't think that guy is it. Don't think that guy is it. There's your twin X cable. There you go. 1000 base LX. So let's just try this maybe. Cisco SFP. See if I can't get one of those to show up for you. There's the SR. SX, twin X. All right, I don't think we're going to keep sitting here searching all day long for you. I just thought I could pull it up real quick for you, but here we go. Here's one right here. Cisco SFP, 10 gig LR, 10 gig base LR. So this is able to go up to about 6 miles. There's that 1310 nanometer wavelength light source. You notice the price of this goes up significantly. We're up to a couple $1,000s for this module. So there's a quick example of your 1000 base, or excuse me, your 10 gig base LR. Again, using my standards to find what I need, or know that what I'm finding is going to work for what I'm trying to do. That's how I like to say it. That's kind of the practical side. 560 AC standard again, 10 gig Ethernet. Yes, if I'm using the correct type of fiber, 10 gigabit is possible. Again, using those standards to my benefit, I can find the gear to connect what I need into my switches, into my ports, my SFPs, those sorts of things, and get it all to match and work. They do remind us from our standard that they have a color code, connector color code, so that I know, just looking at the connector, what type of fiber that this is that I'm plugging in, then know that it's going to work. 5125 black, 62-125 beige, 5125 laser optimized aqua, single mode fiber blue, and angled ferruled single mode fiber green. So they have the color code there to help sort out our cable types. The initial 10 gig LAN technology, two kind of questions came up. How does one use our existing cable, and what cable should be installed in any kind of new build outs that I would be doing? Well, your ANSI ETA had two good answers. First one was, test your installed cable to determine if it will support 10 gig. And then they also came up with solutions to specify new performance categories for our cabling installs. So using existing category 6 cabling, they said, you can certainly expect to be able to handle 10 gig up to like 55 meters. You might even approach 100 meters, but test to be sure. That's what they said. If you adopted category 6 early and now you're upgrading to 10 gig, do some testing to know whether it's actually going to handle it. And then follow future standards like Augmented 6. Augmented 6, you're typically going to find shielding around the whole cable. That is reducing some of the outside interference to reduce that attenuation to crosstalk ratio that we talked about. So 10 gig Ethernet to 100 meters is possible with your Augmented 6. Category 7, this is, the cable itself is shielded, and then each individual pair inside is shielded. This one, as it is being adopted, there's different connector styles. There's a modified RJ45 style, and then there's the non-RJ45 style. The modified RJ45 style, kind of a shielded connector, looks very similar to what we're used to. It's just the shielding and everything is necessary for the type of cable. And the non-RJ45 EC7 is this style that I had showed you earlier. This would kind of require a major retool of everything when you really start thinking about it. Obviously cabling, patch panel, outlet jacks, patch cables, the whole 9 yards. That'd be pretty significant to do that. And I think we are at the end of the line. That's kind of the end of our copper 10 gig cabling standards.